Okay, so just a few days away from the Australian coast to coast trip, Garbage Run Australia, going east to west, 9 of us, 4,200 miles, starting Caboolture down to Byron Bay and across the centre, Strzelecki, Oodnadatta Track, Stuart Highway, Great Central Road, and out to Perth. So that's going to take us 21 days, maybe 22, 20, something like that. To be honest, the schedule is pretty loose and vague. Obviously, you've got designated spots to stay or aim for, and once you start getting out here, there's not that many homesteads or anything. So I guess you spend your day heading for the homestead, camp there, spend the next day heading for the next homestead. So it's pretty remote, pretty isolated. So I'm just going through some of the things I need. First thing I'm doing, I'm going over Dorothy. So this is a postie bike I rode back from Australia on. Just going through this over the bike and sort of familiarising myself with what tools I need to get the wheels out and to adjust bolts, get the spark plug out and things like that. She's a bit battered and abused, but it's a shame I couldn't take her on this trip really, but sending her all the way back to Australia, doing the trip and then maybe bringing her back home again, it just was too expensive. So, it was a question to just get one out there is a better option. So just going through the tools there, Rob me Alfred's toolbox of things I need. Just a few bits I've got, inflatable pillow, the Lomo mat, taking a tarp just to throw down under the tent just to stop any punctures or anything of the inflatable mat. All important hydration bag, hoping to take on 3 or 4 litres of water per day. A cool cover seat cover for everyone, so all 9 bikes are going to have a cool cover seat cover. I've been we're using one on my Himalayan and it's just been really effective. So John at Cool Covers has kindly set us up with one of those each for the bike, which is essential really because it's kind of got a vinyl seat as standard, and it gets very uncomfortable after a short time on the bike. Got the workshop manual that covers the CT110, so in case we have to strip it all down. Fly net, fleece sleeping bag because at night time it could drop down to 0 degrees in the desert or maybe even a touch below if we get unlucky. A tool roll there, a bum bag, don't laugh at it but it's got my passport and money in it. Multi-tool headlamp, some plastic cement, a spare CDI unit just in case we lose one or one stops working en route, plug sockets and things, some clothes, waterproofs, some socks, pants, TRF top, mug, tow rope, first aid kit which is going to have pretty comprehensive first aid stuff in there. So that's only half of what we're taking really. So that is it. I don't know if you could, can we spin it around? So kind of it's going to be a big trip really, this one. I mean, guiding people on trips is always a big deal. Guiding people across the outback is an even bigger deal. So we're taking this really seriously. We've got a satellite phone that I'm renting for the duration of the trip. Then we've also got Thomas, who's local in Brisbane, who's taken time off work to follow us in a van and carry the things we might need, and also just to pick up the pieces if anybody has a bad accident. So he's going to be sort of shadowing us along the route, taking about $3,500 worth of spare parts and bits and bobs, oil, tyres, tubes, and a replacement cylinder and piston and everything like that. So if we have a problem with the bikes, then hopefully we should be able to get it back on the road pretty quickly. The bikes are really robust, which is the main thing. So if we take it careful, shouldn't be too bad. It's just the corrugations, the rippled road surfaces that might shake them to bits a little bit, but we'll see. 40 mile an hour sort of cruising speed should hopefully be all right. So that's it. So just going to carry on going through stuff, get ready, do a bit more research, make sure I've got emergency contact numbers as we go across, knowing where we can get road condition updates and things like that, making sure I've got the homestead numbers down to give everyone. Interestingly, there's been a lot of flooding, a lot of rain around here, this part here. Lake Eyre here, that's normally barren and dry, so not a lake at all really, but given the waters in recent months and weeks, that's completely full now, so that should be interesting as we come through there. Should give the desert a bit more life as we come through it. Here, this is probably going to be the toughest stretch, although I think they've started paving a lot of it, but the rest is going to be dirt and corrugations, what they call bull dust, which is sort of powdery sand, which is hard to see. and obviously it hides the ruts beneath it, so you've got to be careful of those. We're going to be riding kind of a tight formation, really. 9 bikes, enough space to give people time to get out of the dust clouds. But obviously, we're going to ride as a pack. Normally, garbage runs, people can make their own pace because they know where we're heading. But this one, I think safety in numbers. We've just got to kind of rely on, I think, what you call defensive riding. So keeping a really close eye on what's coming up behind, because there's going to be road trains out there, which are a really fast-moving, long lorry type thing that don't really have room to slow down or stop. So best thing is to get off the road for those. We've also got 250 charity runners or drivers in cars coming the other way at some point, so we've got to watch out for them. Their organisers have been in touch just to say, like, we're coming through, where are you going to be, so hopefully we'll look out for you and make sure we don't get nobbled, because it's some of the sand dunes we're going to be going over, not really sand dunes, but there's crests, and obviously oncoming traffic over a crest is something you've got to watch out for. So we all fly in. We're going to land on Thursday night. Everyone's going to spend 2 days in the shop, just going through basics of maintenance, riding, how to ride a CT110, loading it up. We've got the postie bag sacks on, but the idea is going to be to keep the weight as low down as possible. So heavy stuff at the bottom, which is a technique for every trip you go on, really. Weight low down and minimise the height of the luggage. We've got some milk crates waiting for us, and that's going to store the 5-litre jerry cans that every bike's going to carry. So trying to cover every base, really. Trying to be self-sufficient. We're going to have the backup van, but that's really only going to be there for emergencies. So say a problem happens with that, we're going to be self-sufficient in terms of water, fuel, cooking and things like that. So it's an expedition, I would call it. Obviously just trying to make it a safe one for everyone. Riders in the 50s and one in the 60s on this, one in the 40s I believe. So some have done a lot of travel riding, some are not so much. So yeah, it's just trying to make it accessible, really, making it safe and accessible and then hopefully enjoyable. But quite a flexible timescale, quite a flexible route. If we have to change the route due to road conditions or weather, then that's what we'll have to do, really. So we shall hopefully make it to Perth. That is the plan. Also, as we go along, we're going to try and raise a bit of money for the Royal Flying Doctor Services, which hopefully we won't need, but they are an emergency aerial cover that covers the outback. Obviously, there's not very few hospitals throughout these parts, so Royal Flying Doctors cover that by air. So if you need medical emergency, you call them and they will hopefully be able to get somebody out to you. So I think it's an invaluable service, and hopefully, like I say, we won't need them, but maybe we'll do. So if anybody wants to sort of follow a link and donate a bit of money to their cause, that would be greatly appreciated. That's it. Couple of days. Over and out.